Welcome back. Time for our GMC Sierra Tweet of the Night. It comes from 93.7 The Fan, where Greg Brown, who, by the way, was a part of the PM Team's show this evening. He talked with Chris and crew. Greg Brown said about a month from now, you get close to having O'Neal Cruz back. I think they have at least one more really good run in them this year. Chris, I want to get into that conversation that you and company had with Greg Brown. I know the potential return of O'Neal Cruz was one of the things that you discussed. Another thing you guys discussed was the upcoming draft, because that's going down Sunday. Dylan Cruz, Paul Skeens. There's another kind of wedge brought into the play in there, because Paul Skeens says, hey, he wants to hit and he wants to pitch in the major leagues. But what did you gather from that discussion with Greg Brown, from what you've got in other discussions leading up to this point? Because we know Sunday still is a few days away. But has it shaken your thought process with the draft? What kind of feeling has it given you as far as what the Pirates might do on Sunday?
The feeling I've gotten is that they're not going to do what they should do, which is obvious, and that's take Dylan Cruz, who has been the consensus and still is the overwhelming consensus best player. I think out of 8 or 9 major, websites, scouting services, whatever you'd want to call them, Josh, all but 2 have him as number 1. I think one is Wyatt Langford, the Florida outfielder, and one might have Skeens, but Dylan Cruz was seen as recently as like 3 weeks ago as a generational type of prospect, like an almost instant impact guy who's going to get to the major leagues fast, and then he's going to hit, and he's going to hit for power. And now suddenly we're nitpicking, we're finding holes in his game. High school players are coming into play. I've seen it written that they are very much interested in Max Clark, the kid from Indiana in particular. Walker, I want to say Jenkins. I think I might be getting his name wrong, because I don't care about high school kids who are 4 years away. If this team is supposed to be good, then why aren't we seeing the Pirates take the best college outfielder available, which is what they need? I don't buy Skeens mainly because I don't buy that Skeens stays healthy. His arm is not built, and the human arm is not built to throw 103 repeatedly and throw sliders with that high of spin rates. I have nervousness about that. As for other ground Greg Brown covered, that tweet of the night, Josh, was in response to my question, kind of in a roundabout way, saying, are these next 6 games, or 5 games, the 2 here to finish up with LA and the 3 against the NL West leading Diamondbacks, kind of a line in the sand for the Pirates? They're 6.5 out. The Reds keep winning. What do they have to do to stay within shouting distance? And Greg sort of dodged around it and said, well, when Cruz gets back, they might have a run in them. That won't matter if you're 11.5 games out by the time he's actually back in the lineup.
But, Chris, I have a hard time looking at this team right now and the pitching that it has, even with Colin Holderman back and healthy, and you wonder if this pitching staff can sustain it for another 5 to 6 weeks.
Well, the short answer is that no, they cannot. They need to get more consistent offense. They need their best talent back in the lineup and healthy. I mean, it's not rocket science. The Reds have a lot of young bats. They bring up Elly De La Cruz, and suddenly they can't lose. I think there was something like 19-27, and now they're 48-39, maybe, if memory serves. So they've won 30 games, basically. They played 30-9 baseball, 30-10 baseball, something like that.
But there was a guy you needed to be consistent next to Mitch Keller, and it needed to be Roansy Contreras, and he has been the least consistent guy in this rotation, and that's considering the fact that they've already called up Ortiz, they've already called up Beto, they were already bringing up guys from the minor leagues, and they already by default had been more consistent than Roansy Contreras. And Chris, I don't know how long I've been saying this. It's probably been 4 or 5 months, even going into this season. I've been saying this. This team is only going to be as good as its starting pitching allows it to be, and Roansy Contreras needed to be a big part of turning that tide, and it hasn't happened, I think, the way we expected. Got to take another break. We will wrap up when we come back. Stick around.